Today we're going to be checking out the Razer Basilisk V3X HyperSpeed mouse. This mouse is going to be designed for gamers and more specifically people who are into FPS, MOBAs, and maybe some MMOs. What you're going to get in the box is of course going to be the instruction manual, the super awesome mouse of course, and a AA battery, which is what this mouse uses as a power source. Alright, so first impressions with this mouse, I'm really loving the amount of buttons it has. You're going to have your standard buttons on top, the two pointer clickers, the scroll wheel, the click in, the DPI switching button, and then if we flip over to the side, you can see there's going to be 3 additional buttons here, which is going to be super useful for FPS games or even MOBAs and maybe even MMOs if you can assign some of your shortcuts there. Really loving these button placements as well. They're so easy to reach with the front button here with your thumb. It's going to be super easy and feel very comfortable, as well as these side buttons here. It's all going to be easy to access. Now, the material of the mouse is going to be pretty much made fully of a texturized plastic. You can see we got some nice texture on the clickers here, the back as well, so it's going to give you a pretty firm grip. And then the only parts that are going to be rubber are the side here, which is going to have like a texturized rubber, and that's going to be on this side as well as this side. And then there are going to be some glossy parts, which is just here, and that's just going to be more of a design aesthetic thing. The scroll wheel itself is going to be made up of rubber, so that's going to give you a nice easy flick when you need to scroll through. Now, I always like to do a little shake test to see if there's any rattly or wobbly parts to see what the build quality actually is like. And literally no sounds whatsoever. This thing is constructed very nicely and it's not going to feel cheap. Now, if we take a look under the mouse, you can see that there are going to be some skates here as well. You're going to have 2 little ones on top, on the side where your thumb kind of rests, as well as the bottom and around the sensor. So you're going to have a pretty good gliding experience. And you can also see that there is going to be a few different buttons here that allow you to switch between the 2.4 HyperSpeed as well as Bluetooth, or just keeping the mouse off. Now, the weight of this mouse isn't going to be the lightest and it's not going to be the heaviest either. It's going to come in at 110 grams. 110 grams is almost double the weight of some of the pro gaming mice out there, so you're really going to feel it if you're coming from those style of mice. But of course, this mouse is targeted for a different type of gamer who isn't really trying to get every little advantage they can. They just want something a little more convenient and more buttons. And then this mouse is also going to have a lot more weight, mainly because of the battery, which is stored in here, and it's going to be using this AA. You just plop it in like so, and then you're good to go. And then this is also where the HyperSpeed dongle is going to be stored. All right, so let's go ahead and turn this thing on. So we got our dongle plugged into our computer, and we're going to go ahead and flick this to the 2.4 HyperSpeed connection. And you can see that the scroll wheel does have a nice glow to it, very vibrant, and the scroll wheel is also gonna be see-through, so it's gonna give like this cool illuminating effect. I'm actually really digging the scroll wheel. I think it looks so cool and very like futuristic, with kind of like the very bright stripes here, and then in the center it's like kind of more hollow, not as vibrant, but still looks really, really nice overall. Now, the battery life you're going to get with this mouse is going to be about 24 days if you use it for 10 hours a day using HyperSpeed, and then you can get about 45 days of usage if you use the Bluetooth. Now, this mouse is going to be using Razer's 5G 18K DPI sensor, so it's not going to be like their highest end one, but trust me, this thing's going to be good enough. You're not really going to feel that lag or skipping, especially using the HyperSpeed dongle. Now, the switches this mouse is going to be using is Razer's Mechanical Switches Gen 2. And here's a quick little click test for y'all to hear what this thing actually sounds like. So overall, I'm pretty happy with how this thing clicks and sounds. Nothing to complain about. The only thing to consider is that it is not ultra silent, so if you need something that's not going to distract anyone, then this may not be the best option, but if you're not worried about that, then this is going to be perfectly fine. Now, you can install the Razer Synapses software if you want to get a little bit more controls, and here's all of the things that can be customized. And if I go ahead and click like this DPI button, you can see all of the things you can adjust here, and then there's also going to be hypershift mode over here, and then there's going to be performance settings tabs you can tweak There's going to be some lighting settings with the RGB lights, and in order to change them, you can go ahead and do that by clicking these settings here and customizing something like the breathing patterns or whatever effects you'd like. And then we also have some calibration settings that are going to allow you to tweak it based on what surface it's using, and then you can also have some power settings with when it goes to sleep. So this is going to be a solid mouse if you want something that has a little more functionality with these additional 3 buttons on the side. Really useful for MOBAs or even MMOs, and you can definitely use it as an FPS mouse, but keep in mind that it is going to be a tad bit on the heavier side. 110 grams versus most mice out there around the 50 to 60 gram range, so almost double the weight. Now this mouse does come in a more premium tier, which is going to be called the Basilisk V3. The V3X is going to be the lower tier one, and if you want to see a difference between both of these mice, then go ahead and click the video up here. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.